Dre Spec the Box with it. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Also, hit the bell notification. That way you can stay updated on the latest content from the channel. So be blessed, Lord. Dre Spec the Box. I'm here with another video. Man, if you haven't before, man, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit it, man. It's a movement, man. I'm trying to build up my followers. Also, man, the real true boxing fans, enthusiasts, man. I'm just trying to get some debates going, get some commentary going, like between us. You know, we the real fans. We know what we want to, what we see and what we want to hear. You know. And this is a platform where we can share our own perspectives on what's going on in the boxing world. Let's dive right into it again, man. I'm starting to see a common theme with a lot of guys who are siding with Mikey Garcia in this fight. Because real boxing fans, man, they can admit that this is a tall task for Mikey, right? From the eye test, you know, everything you've seen from what Errol has accomplished, even though Mikey has accomplished a lot, it's been at lower weight classes. So this is his first time fighting at 147. Real boxing, you know, fans, connoisseurs, whatever you want to call them, you can really see that this is a tall task for Mikey. But it's a lot of guys out there, you know, saying Mikey's gonna demolish Errol, and if you're gonna start making bold claims like that, you have to give me some how. You have to give me some substance. You can't just tell me Mikey is gonna demolish Errol Spence when I haven't seen Mikey demolish anyone. Again, you have to tell me how is Mikey gonna knock out and demolish Errol Spence at 147 when I haven't seen Mikey demolish anyone. Mikey came from 126 pounds. Mikey is now fighting his first time at 147. Mikey has not knocked anyone out at 140 pounds. And his last couple fights at 135 was hard contest. You're not going to tell me that Mikey's just going to walk through a Errol Spence at 147, being the very smaller guy with shorter reach disadvantage, and tell me that this guy is going to walk through Errol Spence. You have to give me some substance of how. Tell me exactly how he's going to move around the ring. He's going to accomplish this feat. The feat that nobody, you know, has done before, you know, fighting Errol Spence. None of these other guys who came up in weight. None of these other guys who were bigger than Errol. Because Kell Brook was a bigger fighter than Errol. That's why Kell Brook now campaigns at 154 pounds. It was hard for him to make weight. Errol was not the bigger guy in that fight. Yet Errol was favored in that fight. If you go back and look at the books, Errol was favored in that fight because he was the bigger guy, more skillful guy, younger fighter. People seen things in Errol that they hadn't seen in Kell Brook or any other top welterweights at that point, in which he would be favored over some of those other guys. So I start to think that these guys are either delusional or maybe they trolling. Because I'm hearing this from the other boxing channels. I'm seeing this and I'm saying, and I'm not gonna name the guy's name. I was on a boxing channel, right? And I'm having a debate with a guy. And he said these words. He said, Errol Spence is gonna beat Mikey. But it's only because he's so much bigger than Mikey. But Mikey is way more skilled, and Mikey's really gonna give Errol. And it wasn't that this guy was a Errol's was a Mikey Garcia fan or like saying some substance of how Mikey could defeat Errol. It was more so coming out as he was an Errol Spence hater. And he sound like let me tell you what he sounds like. He sounds like the racist people when they say racist shit and then they turn around and say, but I like black people. but I'm not a racist. I like black people. So he would say a lot of hateful shit towards Earl and turn around, oh no, but I like Earl because Earl is very talented. I just think he's overhyped. He's way hyped. And let me tell you something. If you go back and look at one of my videos, I did the hype notes about Errol Spence. He is a hype job, but you are supposed to hype some of the best fighters, some of the best fighters, some of the best athletes ever. Were all hype jobs. They all been hyped up. Somebody has to get behind them and start hyping them up, and they build confidence behind the hype, and then they go out and prove you right. LeBron James was a hype job. Floyd Mayweather was a hype job. You know, Mike Tyson was a hype job. These were hype jobs, but they become all-time greats because what they did in the midst of having all the hype. So when you go out there and you accuse Earl of being a hype job, at this point in his career, after he's accomplished what he's accomplished by winning, you know, the IBF welterweight championship in somebody else's hometown and in somebody else's country, then, you know what I mean, the hype is starting to manifest itself as being more than hype, as being legitimate hype. Because this guy is the real deal. He's the truth. He's doing all the stuff that he's supposed to do. So these guys who coming up with all this stuff about Mikey and Mikey's gonna do this and I'm starting to think, you know, these guys are not really Mikey fans. We're getting the early sense of all of these Errol Spence haters. And some people, you know, they may be truly doing this, you know, because that's just the way they feel. That's maybe their preference. They may just not like Errol Spence style, or maybe they don't like something about him. Maybe he's too soft-spoken. I don't know what it is. But you start to get that old early notation that these guys are going to be the guys that you're going to have to deal with for years to come if Earl continues to win and continues to prove that he is the truth in the boxing, especially at the welterweight division. You're going to have these guys that's going to hang around. At each fight, they're going to get behind the next guy who's challenging Earl and say, this is the guy to expose Earl. The same way that they did behind Floyd Mayweather, the same way they did behind Andre Ward, you know, and other fighters. This is the guy. This is the guy. This is the guy. Eventually, let me tell you what happens. They do this for several fighters, meaning like they'll do it for Errol Spence, and they'll do it for Deontay Wilder, and they'll do it for a Terrence Crawford. But then at some point, Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence has to fight each other, and then when you hear their commentary, then they pick the lesser side. And then they try to find ways to say that, well, I really never even, and that's why they always save the right to say, well, you know, I always did like Terrence Crawford, or I always did like Errol Spence. I just said he had some flaws. But it's a lot of hate that comes with that. If you don't tell me how a person is so bad and how a person is this, and you just keep on, you going with the same regurgitation that you're hearing from everybody else, because everything I hear is Earl is a less skillful fighter. And I say how. So, right, the first thing everybody says is he doesn't have head movement. Okay, he doesn't have head movement. When has he have to use head movement? When has he got hit to the point to where he had to use head movement? If he's parrying shots, if he's pulling shots and then catching and shooting, why would he need to use head movement to slip a shot versus parry a shot and or catch a shot with his gloves, or catch him on the gloves? Why would he need to use so much head movement? That's a wasted head movement. That's a wasted movement in which he can be punching, which he does, with that same motion, with that same energy that he would be wasting on head movement. A lot of guys who, and I tried to tell this, man, I try to explain this to people who understand boxing. A lot of guys who need more head movement were the smaller guys in divisions, the shorter guys, the guys who need to avoid jabs, avoid a lot of punches so they can duck and move inside the punch. A lot of these guys who don't need head movement were the bigger guys who could catch shots with the gloves, who had defenses in which they could catch and shoot, who had defenses where they can parry. They didn't have to use so much head movement, because usually they were the taller guys and they were keeping somebody else on the outside with the long jabs, the long arm and reach advantage, and they were fighting on the outside. So you don't have to use head movement as much. You will see those guys with duck punches, but they don't have as many punches coming at them, so they don't have to utilize head movement as a shorter fighter would. So they say, well, Mikey Garcia has the better head movement. Mikey Garcia has to have the better head movement. He's a small guy. He has to move his head around when he's fighting, when he's boxing, in order for him to get inside and fight with some of these bigger guys. When he was with fighting against Robert Easter Jr., he had to use a lot of head movement. And Mikey actually doesn't have superb head movement. He got hit a lot in that fight. He got outboxed in that fight for the first half of the fight, in my opinion. He wore Robert Easter down with the constant pressure and started to get that 1-2 to slip behind, on the inside of Robert Easter. And that long straight right hand that he got to go down the pipe a lot. That is what, and with the constant pressure that he placed on Robert Easter and was able to get inside his guard, that won Mikey Garcia the fight. And he turned it around towards the the second half of the fight. And I still thought it was closer than what other people would imagine it to be. It was a very tough fight, but I had Mikey Garcia winning that fight. But to think that he had like some superb head movement, no, that did not happen. So I'm just saying, I don't believe that Mikey Garcia is all of these things that people are hyping him up to be. I really do believe that a lot of these guys are coming off as being Errol Spence haters rather than Mikey Garcia fans. So let me know what you guys think. Comment. Like, I'm interested to hear exactly what it is that you guys think about the actual fight. What you guys think about Mikey Garcia? Are these guys really Mikey Garcia fans all of a sudden? Or do you think there's more so we're leaning to the era in which most of these guys are just Errol Spence haters? I want y'all to comment, let me know. Again, subscribe to the channel, man. I'm going to keep these videos going as much as I can. Try to get more content on the channel. Also address some more in the boxing world, most of the hot topics, and cover as much of the sport as I can. Give y'all my perspective on some of the stuff that's going on in the world today when it comes to related to everything boxing. This Dre Spector for boxing, and I'm out, bruh.